I've moved abroad 5 times, lived on 4 continents, and solo traveled to 27 countries. Currently, I'm living in France. I'm Jamaican. I've lived in France for over 10 years now, and I moved to France twice. If I were planning a move to France today, this is the order I'd follow. If you've been watching this series from the beginning, then you've probably noticed something. Each piece or each video makes its own sense, right? And it answers one question in the move abroad process, the process to move to France. But together, they change how you think about your move to France entirely. So in this final video, I want to do something very simple and very practical. It's just to put them all together. And I want to walk you through the exact order I would follow if I were planning a move to France today. Not hypothetically, not someday, but like now, with real life, with real responsibilities, as someone with real constraints. Like I said, I'm Jamaican, so my nationality means that I require a visa to even be a tourist in France. What would I do today if I wanted to move to France? I think most people fail. Well, people don't fail at moving to France because of like a lack of effort. It's not because they didn't try their hardest. I think they fail because they do things in the wrong order. And a lot of advice makes it sound like the key to moving abroad is motivation. Like, if you want it bad enough, you'll figure it out. This is true. Or, like, if you're committed, it'll work out. This is also true. Motivation helps, very true. But it is incomplete. Motivation doesn't create coherence. It doesn't create the right order. Motivation alone is not going to help you build the right scenario for you to move to France. What actually creates momentum is order. Having the right sequence to your move abroad process is what actually creates the momentum and gives you a viable plan to move abroad. In this case, to move to France. When things I think are done in the right sequence, it creates a process that feels steady, that feels reliable, and that gives you a lot of clarity. But when they're done out of order, everything kind of like just becomes a lot harder than it needs to be. And so the first thing I would clarify if I were moving abroad to France today, the first thing I would clarify is not where I want to live, not how much I love France, to not even when I want to go to France. I would start with like my legal reality. Like, when can I move to France? And that legal reality is what visa paths are actually viable for my profile. Because if that's unclear, then you're just blocked from the beginning. Having clarity about what visa path is viable for you, once that's clear, everything else will fall into place a lot easier. So that's the first thing. You can't plan to move to France on a visa that does not fit your particular situation. And no amount of motivation or enthusiasm is going to fix that. It isn't like, I'm not trying to be discouraging. So this step, understanding this step and clarifying your visa pathway isn't about discouragement. For me, it's about building stability into your move to France process and your move abroad plan. Then the next step I would say, is to get financially grounded. So the first step for me is clarifying my visa, getting clear on what the visa path is that makes sense for me and my situation. That is the legal reality of things. Once that's clear, the second thing I would do is get financially grounded. And this is not by copying somebody else's like budget, not by guessing how much money I'm gonna need, but it's by understanding what financial stability actually looks like for my situation. That's what I would do. And I think this is where a lot of people go wrong. They try to budget before they understand like their legal constraints. And that creates a lot more anxiety instead of like stability or clarity in the process. Money only makes sense to me only after the visa makes sense. Only after you understand your legal constraints can you gain the financial clarity that is needed, right? And only after I've clarified these two things, the legal constraints, the financial constraints, like having clarity about this, only after that would I then look at the timing of, okay, so when can I move to France? This is like the order I would do. And looking at the timing is not about how fast can I do this, but about what order makes this sustainable. And getting that kind of like realistic timeline for me isn't about speed or the shortest time from now to move to your move abroad date. It's about putting things in a way that won't like collapse under pressure or under the scrutiny of the visa application process or your move abroad process. So when the French administration gets your file and gets your application to move abroad, it's that you've sequenced things in such a way that going through all of those steps, it doesn't collapse under pressure or under overwhelm, which you will inevitably face because it is a big process to move abroad. It is, there are several crucial steps that you do have to take to move to France. And so finalizing those three things, excuse me, finalizing those three things or getting clear about those three things in that order for me brings like this calm that will replace stress, right? It brings urgency but in a calming way. So this is what I do. This is the order I would follow. I would understand my legal constraints, so legal in terms of visa pathways but also the administrative process. Figure out, get grounded on my financial reality, like understanding a realistic budget that includes even the transitional costs. And then I would look at what's my timing? When can I move to France? Right? And that's the order I would follow if I were moving to France today. I think where planning starts to feel possible instead of overwhelming is when you follow this distinct order of understanding legal reality, figuring out your budget, and then putting your timeline. When you follow that order, something important happens. I think you stop like spinning around like a headless chicken. You stop kind of like second guessing every piece of information that you see online, and I you start to feel grounded in your plan and your process instead of like an emotional kind of like anxious emotional state. You stop existing in that state and you start to feel like grounded in, okay, this is where I'm going and this is how I'm leading towards my goal of moving to France. And you don't feel rushed, you don't feel stuck, you feel more oriented, I think, here. Most people kind of like reverse this order. They start with, when do I want to go? And then they try to make the money work and then they scramble to fit a visa into what they've already decided when they want to go and how much money they need. And that's kind of like when everything kind of like it kind of like falls apart, right? And this isn't because the move abroad plan is unrealistic. I think it's because the foundation and the order of that was unstable. Planning it in this way is unstable, and this is where many people fall short. And I don't want you to fall into that trap. But I want to be kind of like be quite clear about something here is that knowing the right order is not the same as knowing how it applies to you and your specific situation. So you can like understand the sequence and still not know which visa will fit you, what your budget number actually is, what timeline makes sense for your life. Order, yes, gives you orientation, but knowing how to apply it, application gives you the confidence to move abroad, to move to France. And this is exactly why I created my workshop, Your France Plan. It's here. I created the workshop not to overwhelm you with information and not to motivate you with like these big promises of like if you try hard enough, the effort will be worth it. It's not to do all of these things, but I created this live workshop to help you to apply this order to your specific situation, right? Inside the workshop, we'll clarify your viable visa path. I'm help you to ground your financial reality help you to build a timeline that actually holds and makes sense for you. And here you leave knowing what to do next. What's your next action plan? And to know how to do it in what order, in the right order, in the order that will help to give you the best outcome. If you've been watching my series and thinking, okay, this finally makes sense, then the workshop is the next step. I will link the information below for you to register and join the workshop. Small workshop together, 20 spots maximum so that I can have like, we can have the most one-on-one time so you can get a personalized, customized experience. And it's not because you're missing information, but because you're ready to apply it, then my workshop is the next step for you. I'll link it below in the description. And whether you join or not, I hope this series helped you to feel less stuck and more oriented in your move abroad plan, because that's always the goal. If I can help you unlock and unblock one part, at least one part of your move abroad process, then that for me is success. And if you want to take the next step, then you have my workshop live 90 minutes plus Q&A with me that you can go the next step and take it even further. In any case, thanks for being here. Thanks for watching and chatting with me. And I will be uploading more videos about how to move abroad, how to move to France, because I'm Deidre. I'm a Jamaican living in France and I help women move abroad. If you have questions, drop them in the comment. I respond to all of them. See you next time. Ciao.